you're going to be absolutely amazed by how smart Neanderthals really were. It was not what I expected at all. Hey there, welcome to the channel. Humans have long thought of themselves as the smartest species on the planet. We build cities, we innovate technology, and we even put satellites into space. But we're not always as clever as we like to think. Okay, so size isn't everything when it comes to intelligence, but it is a factor. On average, Neanderthal brains were about 15% larger than modern human brains. Neanderthals were able to solve complex problems, such as how to build a shelter or how to hunt down prey. Language is one of the most complex aspects of human cognition. Neanderthals were one of the first species known to bury their dead. This suggests a high level of cognitive ability as well as an understanding of death and the afterlife. Some researchers believe that Neanderthals may have even held religious beliefs. It's not just about communicating information, it's also about expressing oneself, telling stories, and building relationships. Neanderthals were able to form alliances, make plans, and coordinate their activities with other members of their group. They also had to be able to read other people's body language and facial expressions and respond appropriately. We don't know exactly how sophisticated the Neanderthal language was, but evidence suggests that they had a complex system of communication that allowed them to convey abstract ideas. Despite the fact that Neanderthals were smarter than us in many ways, they went extinct while humans are still around today. There are a few possible explanations for this. One is that humans were better at adapting to new environments. Another is that humans were better at cooperating with each other. Yet another is that humans were simply luckier. Whatever the reason, it's clear that intelligence alone is not enough to ensure a species' survival. They were also able to come up with new and innovative solutions to old problems. For example, they figured out how to use fire to cook food and to ward off predators. They also developed new ways to treat illnesses and injuries. This makes sense given that Neanderthals were a much older species, and humans are the ones that have gotten smaller over time. Now, just because they had bigger brains doesn't mean they were smarter, but it does suggest that they had the capacity for higher-level thinking. There are many examples throughout history of humans being outfoxed or outmaneuvered by animals that are much smarter than we are. So, if humans are the smartest species on Earth, then why do we find ourselves in this mess? Okay, so here's the thing. We've all heard of Neanderthals, right? It's easy to forget that they were real people with real feelings who lived real lives. They weren't just some kind of animal that humans evolved from. They were our ancestors. And they were pretty darn smart. They were our closest distinct relative, and they lived in Europe and parts of Asia from about 400,000 to 45,000 years ago. For a long time, we thought that Neanderthals were unintelligent. Brutus cavemen who lived in caves, hunted big game, and had very little going on upstairs. However, recent discoveries have revealed that Neanderthals were actually much more intelligent than we previously thought. And I mean, way smarter than we thought. Let me tell you about it. Neanderthal brains were actually larger than ours. They used sophisticated tools. When archaeologists excavate a site where Neanderthals lived, they often find sophisticated tools that suggest a high level of intelligence. Neanderthals were able to create tools that were incredibly sharp and precise, which required a great deal of skill and know-how. These tools would have been useful for a variety of tasks, such as hunting, butchering animals, and woodworking. In fact, some of their tools were so advanced that they would not be out of place in a modern toolbox. Okay, so next up, they were creative problem solvers. They had a complex language. They buried their dead. One of the most intriguing aspects of Neanderthal culture is their burial practices. They lived in social groups. Living in social groups required a high level of cooperation and communication. Alright, so here's the thing. So yeah, that's the incredible intelligence of Neanderthals. It's amazing to think that these creatures were so advanced, and yet they're still unknown. Thanks for watching. See ya!